Rolling. Action. Hey Anna,
Hi.
the brains of all this. How has grandma inspired you slash influenced you?
Okay. Me. Forgot. I should have. It was on the tip of my tongue.
Wow, that's a hard one. Um, I could say every Christmas or Thanksgiving when you're cooking them pies, yeah, I like that. Okay, thank you.
Wait, stop. Hold on. It made me laugh. You gonna edit that part out, right? Alright.
Keep rolling.
Yeah, I don't want her to see me laughing. Alright,
Grandma has influenced me in a lot of ways. A lot of little ways that I didn't even realize until I became an adult.
In answering the question, how my grandmother's influenced and inspired me, I think the best way to answer that question would be to give you examples of how she's taught me the most important lessons that I've learned in my life thus far.
As a little boy growing up, I watched her, and I've always admired how strong she was, and I always wanted to be like that.
I love you, Grandma.
Happy birthday, Grandma. Thanks for being a great grandmother. Love you. Your grandson, Niall.
Full name is Edith Murial Chatters Batiste. I was born February the 5th, 1934. My mother was from DeLille, Mississippi, and my father was from New Orleans, Louisiana. As a child, I was I guess a very precocious little child. Out of 16 children, I'm the number 11. Behind me, there's 3 girls and 2 boys. Coming from a family of 16, we were taught to be of service.
Mm-hmm.
And we were always taught to share with not only our family, but with others.
Yes, ma'am.
And we were brought up in a very Christian atmosphere.
Grandma is like a giant, so to speak, to us. In that she's always taking care of everybody. She's always doing something. She carries heavy loads. She does a lot to bring her family together, to instill us with pride, to make sure we have the tools that we need to accomplish the goals that we want to. And I think when you come across people who are like that, they're overlooked because they're always doing things for everybody else. Nobody thinks that they need help. And even if you ask Grandma if she needs certain things, she may say no, because that's just the type of person she is. She'll use every ounce of whatever she has left to be self-sufficient. But I think that she may not know how much she means and how much she's influenced us, and that we do notice the things that she's done.
So you didn't fight with your siblings?
No.
But did you ever have physical fights with any of the
Yes.
neighborhood kids?
Yes. Like I said, the children probably during my era was not as brazen as these kids are now.
Yes, ma'am.
But there was still those who tried to take and bully you.
Mm-hmm.
But I was a kid that I guess I just always had enough confidence in myself that I wasn't going to be taken advantage of.
Yeah.
And like I would be in the position that even those, some of my sisters who were older than me that didn't want to mix up things like I did. You know, I had to get in there and fight with them.
Okay.
So like I say, I'll be perfectly honest. Yeah, I would fight, and so much so my mama said, "Baby, please don't go to high school fighting." No, I'm not that I really like to fight. I just, I'm a person that not gonna let people just take advantage of me.
Yes, ma'am.
She taught me really well when she told me a lot to tell bullies to stop messing with me, and I really appreciate her work.
Okay, Grandma, she's just like this very strong woman. Like she has like her mindset on everything. Like she's independent and like she's just very strong. Like with everything like that's happened, like with deaths in the family, she's been like the rock of the family.
Mm-hmm.
She helped me develop the rock in my gut.
What you mean the rock in your gut?
I was always the crybaby among us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, we all know how honest she is.
Yeah.
She helped me shake me out of that too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always grateful for that.
The second way my grandmother influences me is how she's, where the time she was born in, she was born in during the time of the Great Depression, so she had to be tough. And seeing how little things doesn't bother her, whereas like in my generation now we freak out over the smallest things, and my grandmother is able to look at the situation, understand what's going on, and not be afraid to talk to whoever and say what needs to be said, but she always does it in a humble and respectful manner, and she inspires me and encourages me to do the same. If I need to fix a problem, go say what you need to say, don't hold back, but always be respectful, of course.
Now my vision for me was really, I really wanted to be a dancer.
Oh, for real?
Of course. And I was very talented in being able to dance.
Yes, ma'am.
And but my parents felt that that was not what they were concerned with in terms of me wanting to do. And so their things was like, you know, being maybe a teacher.
Okay.
Going on to explore things that they felt brought more prestige to your life and to the family.
Yes, ma'am.
So then my next thing was, I always did love poetry.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to do a whole lot of reciting, but I never realized that in my later years that this is what I would become.
Mm-hmm.
The first way she's inspired me is in the way I talk. I'm really influenced by her eloquence and how she composes herself and holds herself whenever she speaks in front of people. Because sometimes I get nervous, but then I look at my grandmother and I see how she's able to hold her own. You can understand and hear everything she's saying, and every word that she says, she has a meaning, a purpose, and a power in it.
What is it that you enjoyed about dancing?
The freedom of really being to express myself. And when I say express myself, that brought me outside of the facade of just the little basic things in life, but allow me to really get in touch with the inner one in my life.
Yes, ma'am. What is your favorite type of dance?
Well, I really love ballet. I really did. Now, and aside from ballet, you understand, I was truly in touch with the dances of the day. And so at that time, you know, my older brother Edward, and he was a very good athlete and a very good dancer too. And so we used to do what they call the ballroom dance.
Who's your role model?
My daddy, mom.
Mm-hmm. Why did you choose them?
Because all of the positive encounters that he taught us, and Mama taught us.
Mm-hmm.
Understand? So, like I said, in my poetry, I've written about my mom and daddy. I don't know. Would you like to hear what I wrote about them?
Yes.
I'll do Mama's first.
Okay.
My mama, with the warmth of the sun and the grace of God, 16 seeds she bore with love. With an understanding heart and positive thought, her children were taught to obey. Oh, Mama, with the patience of Job, running to and fro, with the nursery school of little children, off in her apron she'd go, extending a hand to all, turning no one away, sewing and cooking from sun up to sundown, with a smile, seldom a frown. With a soft heart and a cheery eye, she greeted all passing by. When Mama would go downtown, oh, how we little chaps would stand and cry. But with a trusting heart, we'd play and wait, standing at the gate, swinging on the tree limbs, pulling the little flowers, musing to the sky with a wondering eye, sensing the warmth of the sun when we'd see old Mama come. And as she would try to open the gate, to her side we'd come, jumping with glee, overwhelmed with joy. Those precious moments, oh, that divine loving soul, oh Mama. With a golden aura all burdens could bear, made one forget all of their anxious cares. Yes, we all laid our burdens on old Mama's chest, and with the strength of Gibraltar, she solved them all. May we stand tall to the monument born of love, trust, hope, with purpose, humble, yet confident. Oh, Mama, glory be to God. And my daddy a child's savior in Mama's world, ruled with a stern face and an iron fist, with a heart of gold and a positive voice, his children he did control. Mama too stood tall when old daddy's voice shook the walls. 'Twas the anxious cares and dreams he had for us all. My daddy, with that heavy mail sack on his back for 41 years, pardon me if I shed tears. 'Twas the thought of my daddy, a man among men, who had a strong principles that he didn't hesitate to defend. Daddy wore patched up shirts and holes in his shoes to send 16 children to school. I remember well the stories he would tell about the great black race, colored then. People like Marcus Garvey, Bunk Johnson, George Washington Carver, Fannie B. Williams, Roland Hayes, Marion Anderson, Frederick Douglass. Oh yes, my daddy had Bible class with us. In God he did trust. His daily prayer was, for the love that passeth all understanding. Oh, I can hear the sound of that old violin, playing air for the G string, Tromara, Thais. We all played instruments then. They used to call us the Long Draws Orchestra. The people used to laugh and prate, but no one could break the faith we had in my daddy. He was well respected, if not always liked, 'cause folk knew he stood for what was right. My daddy, a man who could walk with kings and still be tall. He left a legacy for us all.
She's inspired me by just her whole life story, knowing that the sacrifices that she made for her family and her husband, sacrificing her opportunity at Spelman, but not giving up her creative license in doing her poetry.
All of the things, Mercedes, that I have written, things that came through me,
Yes,
not
ma'am.
from me,
Mm-hmm.
if you understand that.
Yes, ma'am.
And I don't write unless it's given. I don't write just to sit down and write.
Yeah.
I gotta write. And, you know, I mean, if I'm told to do it, I do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I named it the Pigmented Flower because of my little black children. That's why.
She has inspired me in a lot of different ways, but she's mostly inspired me. I learned strength from her. To have pride in what I do. Uh-oh. Hold on, we gotta get rid of you. You okay? Alright, so she's mostly inspired me to be prideful in the things that I do and to be independent.
Mm-hmm.
And she also inspired me to be a writer. She doesn't know it, but she actually she taught me how to read, and she was the one that gave me my first book of poetry. And when I was a child, I always admired her poetry, and I memorized it. I memorized several of her poems, and I would read her book over and over again. And so my style of poetry is similar to hers. And I'm not sure if she's read any poetry I've written since I've been an adult, but my style is a lot like hers, and she influenced me with British writers. Like
cool.
little nursery rhyme books, Dick and Jane books, and just other books that she would give me to read.
A superhero.
Yes, ma'am.
I never thought of myself in terms of a superhero.
What?
And so
You know what type of powers you would like?
Hmm?
If you could have like superhero powers, do you know which one you would want?
Say powers.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, my thing would be service.
Mm-hmm.
Service. Definitely service. To help those less fortunate than myself.
Well, she influenced me because I started to realize the importance of little things I was taking for granted. She's taught me how to appreciate people and how to want to take a better effort. Or make a better effort to improve my own life. Not to sit by nonchalantly while everything goes to pot. But I thank her for the valuable life skills. I'm just going to be honest, as a teen I never took anything really seriously.
Mm-hmm.
But having her to actually give that guidance was actually one of the best things for me. I don't think I'd have made this far without her.
For me, she's been a woman in my life that hasn't always needed to be there, but you see her through every single grandkid that's in here.
Mm-hmm.
You see her through your own parents, you see her through your own siblings, you see her through the poetry that she writes and gives you at Christmas, on her birthday, things like that. So, you know, she's just inspiring without even having to physically do anything. So I think just her presence is an inspiration.
And it's in the little things that I realized I picked up on and carry over to my little girls with like being clean and smelling good. That's really big. Whenever I went to spend the night with grandma, we were going anywhere. She made sure you were going to take a bath, and she always sprays us with perfume. Like even as little girls, Hair was always combed really neatly, really pretty, and that's something that's really important to me. Grandma has a lot of pride in everything that she does, and I feel like I've picked up on that as well. Just taking notice in the way Grandma fixes food, like not just a dish, but how she fixes a plate of food for somebody else, like especially when she would fix food for Grandpa, gravy didn't run over off the plate. You weren't going to find droppings of anything, out of place. It was always really neat, really well put together. Grandma does deviled eggs and she'll put the olive in the middle and, everything is neat and it's nice looking. And that goes over into her appearance, her presentation. She's really thorough, leave no stone unturned kind of a person. And, all of those things have been really influential to me.
When did you realize you were a poet?
In 1963, when I had my first experience of dealing with myself, and the first piece of poetry that ever came to me was called Love. And I'll tell you just how it goes. See, to all of you who have been instruments in my endeavor to find myself, I share the bounties of my experiences with grace. May the love of my being penetrate through you, expressing my gratitude with the humility of the dove and the goodness of all creation. Love knows no evil. Love hath no ills. Love is a force that is able to raise men to the mountains. Love is the attunement of the soul with God. Love is beyond reproach. Love is the thing that makes pure will and good intentions in this decrepit frame of ours. Love is the key to life. Love, my friends, is God. I had traveled to California, and from California I traveled to Atlanta, Georgia, and then I came home and started a search for me to find out things about me. It just seemed to be, when I say a small voice, and I don't mean that it was a voice that was verbal, but really a voice that was silent. But at some point in time, it's led me to the notion of not looking in a book or looking at any books for at least 2 years. And I was led to just listen to the inner one. This is when it was just this flow of poetry that just came. I had a little restaurant here in Baton Rouge that was right on Scenic. And it was a place that Don Dillon had that he was selling barbecue And I went in and started, along with his barbecue, I started a breakfast and a lunch that was very successful. I stopped because my husband was traveling and I wanted to travel. So we were getting ready to go to Africa. And we went to Africa for 6 weeks. And by him being a musician, we did a lot of traveling around the world.
Yes, ma'am.
So we went from Africa to Germany and Italy, Spain, then to Greenland, Iceland. We did quite a bit of traveling.
Yes, ma'am.
We've been to Paris. And by him being a musician, this gave us the opportunity to go many places.
Mm-hmm.
And while he played his music on quite a few occasions, I did poetry. I really enjoyed Germany and Brazil, Paris also.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was all very intriguing places. But I enjoyed it all. But like they say, there's no place like home.
What was your favorite place that you performed your poetry?
In Italy. At one of the trophies.
Oh, cool. That's that trophy is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you won a contest? Or they awarded?
No, they awarded me this. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you cry?
I did.
Grandma, I don't think I ever seen you cry.
Oh, really? You ever never seen me cry? I cried a many a day, baby. Cried a many a day. Many a day, yeah. I have, actually upstairs I have the program and everything they had. It was a lovely concert.
Did you know you were being awarded?
No. No, I didn't.
Is that why you started crying?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a very humbling experience. And to recognize that if it wasn't for God's grace, you understand, it couldn't have been.
Yes, ma'am. She has influenced me and inspired me by giving me an example of what a woman is, or a true lady. Like Anna was saying earlier, how she just carries herself, takes pride in what she wears, her makeup, and also I really want a romance like her and Grandpa.
Aww.
I'm always like looking for that, like my best friend. And I just really love how she took care of him. And a lot of young ladies don't do that nowadays. And they forget their responsibilities as a wife. And it was very gracious of her to give up, just adjust her dreams and her goals to fit into what her husband wanted. And also to mesh what they had, like her performing her poetry during one of his musical performances and all that. And like stated earlier, her strength and yeah, I just love her. You know, I'm very grateful to have a grandmother like her, like someone who's wise and someone you can go to and just talk to and hear stories from back in the day. And somebody, I'm very grateful that we have a family who is rooted in their beliefs, you know, and they made sure that was our foundation and that's how we grow. And they may not be perfect, but they practice their beliefs as best as they can. And I'm really grateful for Grandma for that. So, yeah, man, that's all I gotta say. I love you, Grandma. Okay, yeah.
She's taught me that love is hard. It's not an easy thing because it's not supposed to be an easy thing. And she's taught me that with jewels of wisdom, like you can't live in the bed. You gotta make love work.
What are your expectations for your grandchildren?
Expectations for my grandchildren is to really be of service and to at least rise to their potential. And I feel that they have great potentials, and to not be deterred by things in this world that are trying to keep them away from the most meaningful things in life, which is to help those less fortunate than themselves.
The number 3 reason, the way she inspires me and what I admire about her so much, she makes me comfortable enough to not be afraid to just, this sounds kind of corny, but to be myself and always be willing to learn, always be open-minded, and whenever I have an opportunity to travel, to just, you know, go after for what I really want and do it to the fullest. For instance, I just want to go to Atlanta to dance, but she's like, girl, go to New York. She wants me to go far. Whenever I'm around her, I understand the importance of wisdom. The importance of how, like, it's not, when I'm around her, it's not hard to obtain wisdom at all. Every conversation means something. Every conversation has some type of impact on my life, whether we're talking about something humorous or whether we're talking about something serious. Every conversation I have with my grandmother always enriches me, and the words that she says I don't forget. If I don't remember the words verbatim, my heart does, and it's able to guide me through situations.
What's one piece of advice you would give your grandchildren?
To thine own self be true.
So snap it. Wait, do you know why you have that nickname?
Actually, my daddy told me yesterday, he told me Snappy means special person. And I feel like, I don't know, that just sounds like something him and Grandma both came up with. Grandma has inspired me because I feel like she has always been the glue that truly holds our whole family together. Like, if it wasn't for her, I just feel like we wouldn't be as close as we are. If it wasn't for what she did for our parents, you know, they wouldn't be who they are, and we wouldn't be who we are. I even feel like Grandpa wouldn't even be who he was if it wasn't for Grandma. So yeah, that's one of the things that I love about Grandma. Grandma is also a very diverse person. I feel like she can do anything. She's passionate, but at the same time she's calm. She has a cool demeanor about things. She's talented. She can write poetry. She can cook. I just feel like she can do everything. She's so loving. She's so giving. One of the things, every time I see Grandma, when I was a baby, Grandma took care of me while my parents were, I guess, in law school in Chicago. And she always tells me the story of how she would just watch me and said I was a good baby and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, that has always just made me feel special. I've always felt special because, you know, I felt like, oh, I'm the one that grandma got to take care of. Kind of like, you know, Soraya and Jewel too. I feel like, I don't know, that's special. And I feel like she kind of imprinted on me from that. Because though I don't see her all the time, I just know, you know, I know that she loves me, and I want her to know that I love her too. And I'm proud to be her grandson. And grandma is very accepting of me and everything that I do. She supports my music and everything, so I don't know, she's just amazing. I couldn't ask for a better grandmother. And she influences me by her strength and her passion, like I said. Like, I'm like, dang, grandma opened a restaurant, you know, grandma did all this. I'm like, that, it lets me know that we have something special in our blood, you know, from both sides. Grandpa and grandma, so.
She inspired me because she always had that warm feeling, and she was a great poet, and I just wanted to amount to something that was that great, and she inspired, like, she motivated me to do better and just be myself, so, and I thank her for that, so. She taught me like how to have a business mind and try to do better things and pick better women. So, I just appreciate that, and I'd like to say thank you, Grandma.
My most humbling experience is getting to know myself. And the most proud experience was recognizing God's grace.
She's taught me how being prudent is an important thing in your life, that you have to make hay while the sun is shining, that you have to understand that if you want something in the future, you've got to save for it today. She's taught me other important lessons, like understanding the wisdom that those who came before you have to pass on to you. And that's one of the lessons that I'll never forget. It's one that I plan to pass on to my children. And that's knowing that the stick that I'm trying to walk with has already been broken to splinters. But most of all, my grandmother's taught me how important family is, how important understanding where you come from is, and knowing that no one will love you like your family does. And for that, I love her and I love the rest of my family, and I always will.
What do you most love about Grandma?
I think, oh man, that's a weird question. Okay, that's a twofold answer. Maybe her big heart and her foresight. I think that Grandma planted little seeds that she knew would blossom into, you know, trees and huge pillars in our life. Those foundational things that if they aren't laid, nothing else can stand.
My ending remarks, I'll leave it with a poem. It'll be called Profound Love. Say, Lord, may my life ever be one to serve. May the actions of my intentions speak for me, rather than symbols that merely utter sounds and deters me from achieving my ultimate purpose on this plane. Let the small voice of self lead my soul into the brighter light, where we, as humble servants, may experience and enjoy the peace of God that passeth all understanding. Make me ever mindful of the snares in life that causeth man to fall under the strife of this world. Restore me, O merciful Father, that this flesh of mine does not fail until the light of my soul shall shine. and unite with the brighter light that reflects the oneness of humanity and causes the harmony of the universe to pour out its secrets, that all creation may experience profound love.
Thank you, Edith Batiste.
You're welcome, my darling.